My name's William Selari, and I'm actually do some work for the museum, but I'm a creative developer and director in Roanoke.
Nice.
I lived in Roanoke for a long time, and when I came back after a number of years, there was a big museum there now. And I was initially told that it was impossible to get any kind of contract work or to do work for the museum, just because of the nature of museums and whatever else. And I decided that was going to be one of my benchmarks in Roanoke. I was going to get work from the Taubman Museum of Art. So I don't know. Networked with the right people, and they were great. And they were one of my first kind of big clients when I first moved back. So hopefully I provide for them as much as they do for me. My family moved here to Roanoke from Mississippi by way of Italy in a weird roundabout way. So my dad came here to work to help manage a chicken farm on Bent Mountain, and then sort of, worked his way up the ranks, from chicken to Valleydale, which was located here, and everything else. So he was on his own as a food exporter. So I kind of grew up in the food industry in Roanoke. I think a lot of people have a driving narrative or a theme to most of their work, and mine has been trying to finish work and finish, figuring out what I actually want to do. And so it bounces around a lot. Sometimes I'll do film, sometimes it's paintings or drawings. But I think if I had something close to that, I like the idea of associative memory, and the way that your memory works, how it ties things together in order to learn. And so I, in an abstract way, try to do that, whether it's film or drawings or paintings. That seems to be the kind of one thing that keeps cropping up, sort of psychology of memory, or the ways we remember things and the meaning we put in memory. It's hard to narrow down one place because there's kind of a general feel of things that I like about the area. And I think one of them is there's this, if you took away cell phones or sort of indicative clothing, there's a lot of places you go you'd have no idea what kind of point in time you are. If you go to the Natural Bridge and there's no one there, it's hard to say if it's 2014 or 1920. And I think there's something kind of interesting about that sort of loss of exactly what point in time you're at. Because you get to see something that doesn't necessarily exist in the wild anymore, but also it is the wild. So in a way, so I really like that about Virginia, and I think there's something about geographically where we're located that the quality of light in Roanoke is just, maybe it's just how far we are from the equator, or just being just a little far enough south but also far enough north. Light here is beautiful. I think coming back to Roanoke, a lot of things seem much more possible than they were in some of the larger towns I lived in. And the lines between what you do personally and what you do professionally, and then even in terms of like local government, are a lot closer. And so you can kind of go out and say, well, I really like film, and I think Roanoke would be a great film town. And you can sort of start doing film and get some traction with film, and then that could lead to talking to the mayor or whoever else about it if they were so inclined. And I like the idea that in my hopes for the future is that, again, film, you could make steps in the town to make it a kind of a thriving film community. You could say, fewer taxes on production studios or whatever else for X amount of time in order to kind of foster that here. And I think there's enough kind of beauty and sites around here and locations that I think it'd be fantastic. So long term, I'd love to see that. There's no reason that Roanoke isn't a Wilmington or kind of another hot spot on the East Coast for film. But again, it has to do with that. Things are very much obtainable. They're very palatable here in a way that they seem sort of far and removed elsewhere. It was funny, we said, initially I thought I have an apple tree in my backyard that has a bunch of power lines and cable lines going through it. I was trying to think of the ominous symbolism of that. But more generally speaking, my backyard is sort of the Raleigh Court, Grandin area, so we have a lot of really nice local restaurants along there, and a few restaurants and bars, and the Grand Theater is there, which is nice. It's kind of a nice little self-contained area where you can walk home from a bar, you can walk to a movie, you can walk to the grocery store. So it's a nice community. Things are close enough, but also just far away enough. So.
Of course it's over.
Do a time lapse?